We loaded GoldBerry to make this video. We are not neutral about that. We are the team that wrote the framework, and we are also the audience for it. The framework has 8 lenses. It runs on instruction text. It is itself a kind of text. So we did the only honest thing. We turned it on itself. What follows is a walk through what GoldBerry is, what each of the 8 lenses asks, what the Suffixscape catches that the lenses cannot, and what the framework finds when it audits its own public surface. We did not soften what it found. The reflexive audit is published in the repository, not hidden in it. If independent AI governance work like this matters to you, support the series with a like and a subscribe. It helps the next explainer reach the people who need the framework before the next procurement deadline. GoldBerry is an open source framework for structured epistemic auditing. It is documentation first. There is no model release, no proprietary model, no platform lock-in. The repository is a set of 4 canonical text files, plus supporting materials, released under the PolyForm non-commercial 1.0.0 license. Commercial use requires a separate license from Cognio Synthesis Portal Limited. The 4 canonical files are Soul, Lenses, Suffixscape, and Agents. Soul is the identity, Lenses is the 8-lens reference, Suffixscape is the linguistic diagnostic layer, Agents is the operating instruction. Load the 4 into Claude Code, Hermes, OpenClaw, ChatGPT, Olama, Perplexity, or any prompt-driven system, and the model is pushed to examine 8 recurring dimensions of knowledge rather than only producing a fluent answer. GoldBerry is not a measurement instrument. It is not a substitute for subject matter expertise, lived experience, or direct consultation. Its value is in making absences more inspectable, especially where absence in data is really absence of power. It was extracted from live operational work, it runs on Cognio News, it runs on Cognio Public, it runs on Cognio Comru, and Cognio Enacted. The framework was not designed in the abstract, it was extracted from doing the work. Every input goes through all 8 lenses, no exceptions, no shortcuts. If a lens has nothing to contribute, say so but check. Lens 1, Indigenous Knowledge, corrects erasure of embodied relational epistemologies. Whose embodied relational knowledge is missing from this picture? Lens 2, Deep History, corrects civilizational amnesia and temporal blindness. What historical process produced this present condition? Lens 3, Cross-Cultural Wisdom, corrects universalist flattening of cultural difference. Which cultural perspectives have been flattened or translated away? Lens 4, Scientific Evidence, corrects both untethered speculation and scientism's blind spots. What does the evidence actually show and what are its limits? Lens 5, Artistic Perception, corrects the reduction of knowledge to propositions. What does this story feel like, not just what does it mean? Lens 6, Future Modeling, corrects static analysis ignoring temporal trajectory. Where is this heading and whose futures are being shaped? Lens 7, Marginalized Voices, corrects structural exclusion from knowledge production. Who is not at the table and what would they say? Lens 8, Trickster Knowledge, corrects narrative rigidity, solemn consensus, and the closure of the framework's own seriousness. What truth appears when the story is inverted, mocked, contradicted, or followed to its absurd edge? The theoretical roots are Western critical humanities. Haraway, Heidegger, Foucault, Spivak, Nietzsche, Appadurai, Gellner, Descola. The framework advocates for epistemic plurality from within one tradition. It is not a substitute for direct engagement with the traditions it names. A score below 25% in any single lens is not acceptable, regardless of overall score. The framework refuses to let high performance in some lenses mask critical blindness in others. That is the design. The Suffixscape is GoldBerry's linguistic diagnostic layer. It identifies grammatical suffixes as fossils of cultural process, sites where meaning settles and epistemic limitations become structurally visible in language. It is not a stylistic tool. It is an epistemic diagnostic instrument. 4 patterns: nominalized evasion, the conversion of process into entity, the appearance of commitment without structural conditions for its realization, the implementation of transformational community empowerment strategies. Who implements? Who transforms? The grammar claims action while structurally preventing it. Agency, diffusion. Grammatical structures that obscure who decides, on what basis, with what authority. It was determined that the service would be restructured. Who determined? By what authority? The grammar diffuses responsibility across an unnamed collective. Epistemic inflation. Claims of comprehensiveness, balance, or neutrality unsupported by actual epistemic profile. Our AI provides a balanced, comprehensive analysis. Balanced against what framework? Measured how? Temporal flatness. Language treating present conditions as ahistorical baselines. Current data shows inequality in health outcomes. The inequality is the historical process. The word current erases the temporal depth. The Suffixscape operates within the grammatical conditions it identifies. Its authority is reflexive, not exempt. That caveat is structural, not decorative. In March 2026, GoldBerry turned the framework on itself. The reflexive audit is published in the repository. It found 6 control problems. 1. Framing control. Epistemic completeness is itself a nominalization. The framework decides what counts as complete. That is a power claim. 2. Lens closure. Why 7 lenses became 8. Why these 8? Candidate missing lenses include ecological intelligence, somatic knowledge, mathematical and formal knowledge, child and developmental epistemology. The closure of the framework is the control problem. 3. Suffixscape double bind. The diagnostic shares the disease it identifies. Meta-language cannot escape its own grammar. The audit is structural, not hypocritical. 4. Authority problem. CMR scores borrow the grammar of quantitative assessment but are qualitative judgments in numerical form. No calibration, no inter-rater reliability, no validation study. The framework claims epistemic depth. The mechanism is sophisticated pattern completion. The gap between these is real. 5. Cultural reproduction. The framework is rooted in Western academic philosophy. It points toward indigenous, cross-cultural, and embodied knowledge while operating entirely from within the tradition that excluded them. 6. Recursion limit. Turning the framework on itself produces findings, but the framework cannot find what it does not contain. The trickster lens is the closest corrective. The trickster lens is also part of the framework. The reflexive audit does not invalidate the framework. It is the framework. The audit is the discipline. The repository is at github.com/fambit/goldberry. Pull the 4 files from the agent identity directory: soul, lenses, suffix, scape, agents. Paste them into your agent's project context, system prompt, custom instructions, or memory, whatever your platform supports. Claude Code, Hermes, ChatGPT, Oyama, Perplexity, Ein LLM, then paste Ein text. A news article, a policy document, an abstract, a tweet. Ask for an 8-lens analysis. The agent will look for what the text leaves out, flattens, overstates, or treats as neutral. That is it. The rest is the work. The framework points toward the river. The river is not in the framework. GoldBerry is strongest when treated as a structured audit framework. Useful, inspectable, and limited. The cognitive load of running 8 lenses is real. The cost of running them is real. The alternative, fluent output mistaken for complete output, is worse. The doorway is open. The cognitive load is the price of admission. Subscribe for the next explainer in the series and load the framework at github.com/fambit/goldberry.